going on, everybody? I got some So I don't work today, so I figured I'd do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and that's give a recap of the UFC event last night. So here we go. Let me know if you guys like these kind of videos by leaving a like and commenting. Anyway, the night started off with DCasc versus Fernandez. And if you guys have watched any of DCasc's recent fights, you could have an idea of what he was going to do here. And that's turned into D1 DCasc. Round 1, Round 2, and Round 3 were all DCasc in my opinion, as he had the bigger shots and the more control time. But that didn't stop one judge from giving the fight to Fernandez.
Dave Chiarelli scores the contest, 29-28, Fernandez.
But DCasc would ultimately win by split decision. Next up, we got the biggest mismatch on the whole card, as Eduardo Mora takes on Montserrat Ruiz. And Mora, before the fight, had missed weight, and it looked like it, you could really tell. Throughout the whole fight, she just looked so much bigger, and throughout the whole fight, she also just took and held down the much smaller Ruiz, smashing her face in until the referee stepped in to stop the fight early in the second round due to Mora's ground and pound. Now for a third fight, we have Angela Hill versus Denise Gomes. And if you guys think this fight was going to be another boring Angela Hill split decision, you couldn't be more wrong. Because compared to some fights I will show later, specifically in the heavyweight division, this fight was a barn burner. It started out with Gomes and Hill evenly trading until the end of the first round, when Hill almost got subbed, but she's able to survive, use her veteran craftiness, get her way back into the fight in the second, and then take advantage of a tired Gomes in the third for a unanimous decision win, or Miss Overkill. Time for some real action though, as Vitor Petrino and Modestas Blachowicz step up to fight each other, and we all know how this one should go, and look at that, it went how we all expected. Petrino round 2 KO. Now Renat Fakhretdinov versus Almeida Zaleski dos Santos was an interesting fight. And I say that because it started out with Renat dropping dos Santos in the first 15 seconds of the fight, and it was almost over there. But the first was mainly Renat controlling dos Santos on the ground after the knockdown. Round 2 was pretty much just a stand-up sparring session with Renat landing a couple more strikes than dos Santos. And round 3 is where it really started getting interesting, because it was just like round 2 for the most part. Up until the end, when dos Santos hits Renat with a liver kick that sits him down. And dos Santos would pound away until the final horn, meaning that Renat somehow had survived that onslaught at the end. But that was enough to make this fight end up in a draw, which is fair. I personally would have had Renat 10-8 in the first, and then Renat winning round 2, with the dos Santos 10-8 in the third, meaning Renat should have won in my opinion, but you know, a draw is the next best option. And this was easily the craziest fight on the card, with Renat trying to emulate Trevor Peek the whole time, with the amount of hammer fists and other weird shit he was throwing. But we'll move on. Unfortunately, next we had the announcers telling us that we lost one of the most interesting fights on the card. We should have known bad things were on the way after this. But not right away, as the next fight between Elvis Brenner and the other guy, we almost saw murder take place on TV, as at the end of the first round, Brenner absolutely flatlines him. Even though on the replay it looked like the punch barely touched him, it obviously did enough to make him faceplant, and Brenner would continue his knockout streak at 3, I think, in the UFC, but impressive win nonetheless. Up next was the fight most people were looking forward to on this card, especially now with the Rodolfo vs. Arman fight cancelled. In reality, it just turned out to be what looked like a 3-round sparring session between Caio Borralho and Abus Mamedov. It was really frustrating because Caio literally had the finish in the third. Abus gave up just like he did in the Strickland fight. He tired out. Caio tried to go for the sub instead of just throwing strikes to a guy who was too tired to defend, and they ended up going the distance. But something tells me this won't be the last time we see someone win by decision tonight when they could have easily won inside the distance. We'll see. And Next up, we got no we don't. Just got the two heavyweights, Dante Almeida and Rodrigo Nascimento banging it out. At least they did bang it out early, and then nothing happened for the rest of round 2 or round 3. Nascimento did look really good early with his boxing combinations. Even though he couldn't get Mays out of there, he still did enough to get the decision unanimously. The co-main event between Gabriel Bonf and Nicholas Dolby, or better known as the Parlay Buster of the Week. Another cardio problem was brought to light here as Dolby survived an early storm in the first and even the early second round. But then he came back late in the second and KO'd Bonf with a knee. It sort of looked like the way Gabriel's brother Ismael Bonf KO'd Terrence McKinney. But this fight overall just shocked me because obviously it was a huge upset, being Bonf was minus 600. But Bonf to me just seemed like one of those guys who could never be beat. At least not for a long time. And especially not by a 38, almost 39-year-old Nicholas Dolby. And to further that, especially not by KO to 38-year-old Nicholas Dolby. This fight just blew my mind all around. Congrats to Dolby on an incredible win. His cardio and his toughness is really something to admire, and I'm interested to see how he does against a ranked opponent. Bonfim's got some work to do on that cardio though, yeah. But finally, we're at the main event, and I thought this would be a quick, just like 2-minute breakdown. Yeah, Almeida took him down and subbed him. I'm sure everyone did, but we're all wrong. I thought at the end of the night I'd just be able to roll up and cry myself to sleep after losing all my money on Bonf. But it turns out even if Bonf won, I still would have lost all my money because this fight went the distance. Everyone I heard talk about this fight, even myself, none of us expected it to get out of the second round at most, let alone go all 5. The fight doesn't go was minus 10,000, meaning if you put $10,000 on it, you would have only made 100, but in this circumstance, you would have made nothing. Almeida could have finished Derek Lewis every round. Every single round he had him in the dominant position where he just needed to elbow or punch or just literally do anything, but he couldn't. Derek was like trying to resist at the first, like trying not to get finished, but then every time Derek would get taken down, he'd literally just lay there. You could see he was pissed off. You could see he wanted to get out of there just as much as all of us wanted them to get out of there. Except Mark Goddard. Mark Goddard apparently loved that fight because every time Almeida would lay on top of Lewis and not throw anything, Mark Goddard would just let him stay there. He would give him a warning, then they would do nothing, and then Mark Goddard would still let him stay there. But all this to say that Almeida won by decision. It was very dominant, and it was also very boring. It was pretty close to being up there with Rose and Esparza too, in my opinion. But yeah, the Nascimento Mays fight, and then this fight being 2 of the last 3 of the card is not a good way to end the card, but it was alright overall. And that's it for the recap. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did and you want to see more videos like this after every UFC card, please like the video and let me know down in the comments. And then other than that, thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I will see you next time.